Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this week's video, and today I want to talk about why we're all so caught up with turning our passions into a career, making our passions pay, monetizing our passions, hobbies. This is a thing that's happening at the moment, is this idea that, what pays our bills and what we do for a living should be linked in with our passions and things that we really enjoy doing, which sounds absolutely great in theory, like a no-brainer, but the realities and the practicalities of doing that and the logistics are somewhat more difficult, I feel. So I really just wanted to have a chat about this as a topic from my own experience and from what I've heard works for other people, and just talking a bit more around this subject. So if you're passionate about something, whether that is computer coding or dancing or writing poetry or doing yoga, there is this element that you probably have done that in a non-paid capacity. You've done it for fun, you've spent many hours doing it and had no kind of prize for doing that, no physical prize apart from just the joy that it's brought you to do that, or the benefits that you felt in a non-monetary way for doing those things. And then what can happen is that there's this, at the moment, it's like there's this huge pressure. I mean, God, especially on young people, like young kind of teenagers who are hearing about these people that follow their passion and they set up this multi-billion-dollar company by the time they're 21, or whatever stories are out there of these magical unicorns that manage to do this. And then there's just the rest of us that are muddling along and trying to work out what we're going to do and how we're going to pay the bills and have some level of happiness in our lives. So that's an interesting topic in itself, around this idea that we do something and we enjoy it, and then we feel like we see these stories and case studies of people that are living their passion and they're making money from it, and that's very big on the internet, this idea. And then we're like, I want to do that. Okay, I like computer coding, I'm going to become a coder. I like to write poetry, so I'm going to become a poet and I'm going to get paid for that. Or I'm a musician, I like playing the guitar, so I'm going to set up my own band and I'm going to have a record deal within 2 years, and I'm going to be touring and making money and having fans. And the reality is that for a lot of people, those things that we love and those hobbies and those passions might never ever turn into some sort of thing that's going to pay our bills and is going to be a career for us. And then that can leave us feeling a little bit shitty, like we're not good enough, we failed, we're not living our passion, we're having to do a job in, I don't know, an office or a call centre or working in a bar. And we're kind of like, well, I'm not getting paid for what I like doing, so it's not legit. It's not like, I'm not really good at that, or it's not important or meaningful. And I just think that's absolute bullshit. Like the worst thing that can happen is that something that you love then becomes like another stick to beat yourself with, and you feel like you can't make money out of that, therefore you should just stop doing it. And it's really sad, and I think it's happening more and more that people are putting so much expectation on their hobbies and their interests and their passions and trying to monetize that in some way, and then it totally changes the dynamic and the relationship you have with doing that thing. So for example, for me, I really loved yoga. Like, I've done yoga for about 10 years and it's been really helpful for me in my anxiety, like helping to calm that down. I love to move with my body, and I love making all of the shapes and the beautiful lines and flowing and feeling like I've got the meditation and the asana practice, and everything just flows together and is really enjoyable, as well as keeping me healthy in body and in mind. So I'm enjoying doing this yoga, and I like posting little pictures on Instagram and stuff, and then I suddenly think, right, I really enjoy doing this, and I need to be living my passion, and I need to be doing that for my living, for paying my bills. So I'm going to become a yoga teacher. So any yoga teachers out there probably know, oh, you thought that was going to pay your bills. Yeah, it's maybe not quite as easy as that. But so I was like, right, I'm going to start yoga teacher training. So I embarked on tons and tons of research, looked into loads and loads of yoga teacher training courses, spent hours and hours poring over the pros and cons of all the different courses because I'm an overthinker. And then I finally started a course. It was just like, as soon as I started the course, within like 3 sessions, 3 weekends of starting it, I just knew that it was the wrong thing. I was like, you've made a mistake, Ruth, you have made a mistake. I was feeling like what used to be my joy and my relaxation and my quiet time and my calm with no pressure on me had suddenly become this pressurized thing. Like, we were having to practice teaching and we were getting critiqued, and we were having to learn all about the anatomy and all the ins and outs of all the postures, and I just felt like I'm in the wrong place, I'm in the wrong room, I've made a mistake. And I was, in touch enough with myself to say I knew I'd made a mistake, and I got out of it and I explained why, and I just knew it was the right thing to do. I put myself under far too much pressure, and I'd lost something that had really helped me with my anxiety. So I learned a valuable lesson from that yoga was not something to be monetized. It didn't mean that I wasn't into yoga or I wasn't advanced enough, or my ego was just the thing that wanted to have something to prove around that. And I didn't need to make any money from it. I could just go to my yoga class and enjoy it, hopefully until I'm a wrinkly old woman in my 90s. That's my plan. But it took me time to get back into that good relationship with my yoga practice, because I'd lost that through trying to monetize and turn that passion and that interest into something that was going to make me money, or something that I was going to get critiqued on, and I was going to have to market myself and all of these things around this interest that I had. So I would say be very careful. If you've got a passion or a hobby or an interest and you think, I'd really like to start making some money out of this, really do some journaling, do some reflection, write down, what are your reasons for doing that, and how are you going to feel when you start having that pressure to make money from that thing come into your life. Will that affect your relationship with the thing that you enjoy doing? And is it really what you want to do? Because I think that sometimes you can test the water with it, but like if you jump headfirst into saying, I really enjoy doing this and I'm going to make a living out of it and I'm going all in, I think that it can really backfire. There's a musician, I want to say he's called Canyon City. I think he's called Canyon City. He was on the Minimalist podcast, and he made music, and he absolutely loved making music, and that was his absolute joy and passion. And then he ended up monetizing that, making that into a career, and he totally lost his flow and his joy, and it turned into something that was becoming a bit of a chore and something that he wasn't enjoying anymore. So he went back to working at Home Depot, which is like B&Q in the UK, working there and working on his music in his spare time to get back that passion and that good relationship that he had with creating music, and getting back to why he enjoyed doing that in the first place. And because of the lessons he learned the first time round, he now is a successful musician and goes on tour and makes music, but he knows not to put that pressure on the music, that it's got to be his bread and butter and pay his bills, which I found really, really interesting, because that's the similar thing that I did with the yoga. Is I immediately just thought, I'm going to monetize this interest, I'm going to become a yoga teacher, and then it just zapped all my joy out of it. And then who wants to go to a yoga class with a teacher who's like, yeah, I did like yoga, but I don't really like it anymore, and I feel under a lot of pressure teaching this class. So that's my perspective on this. And it doesn't mean that you can't turn your passion and your hobbies and your interests into something that's monetized, but it's just having that awareness that not to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, and put pressure, especially if it's a creative endeavor and something that you need that creative flow for. So don't put all of that pressure on it. If money comes and money flows to you from doing what you love, amazing, that is incredible. And if you are open and you let go and that comes to you, then it's a bit like with love and relationships, you know, you're desperate to find a partner and you're running around and you're going on dates and dating apps and whatever, and nothing's happening, and then you just think fuck it, this isn't working, you give up, and you don't know, you just go to the gym or you go on a night out and you just meet someone. So I think it's a little bit like that with passions and careers and monetizing stuff. Is often if you just think fuck it, I'm just going to do this for fun, no pressure, you know, like I'm doing these YouTube videos now, absolutely no pressure, you know, one person watches it, it doesn't matter, I'm just doing it from a place of this is a good discipline for me to do this each week, it's fun, and I get to express myself, and who knows where it'll go, but you know, I'm not putting myself under any pressure whatsoever for it to lead anywhere, which is tough because everything has to lead. We live in this culture where we strive, and you know, you've got to do this, and how you're getting on with that, and how many followers you've got, and how many likes have you got, and you're like, oh, you know, probably not as many as you want me to say, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just how you feel and your relationship to what you're doing and the joy and the energy that you're bringing to it. So I hope that has helped, and you keep on with your passions, whatever you love doing. Like, comment me below, share with me what your absolute passions are, what you love to do. And if you have experienced making money out of something and then regretting it, or making money out of something and it all being amazing and that's just flowing to you from a place of joy and a place of fun, then I'd also love to hear about that as well. And I'm on my own journey with it. Like I say, I've learned from mistakes in the past and I continue to learn and grow. So let's keep doing the same together. And I will see you next week for another video. It's so sunny here. I've got my flowery top on, and it's really nice to be doing this video for you on a sunny day. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye guys.